Hey guys, welcome back to the Space Bro Show. It is, what is it? Friday the 13th, 2016, and we are here to talk about our favorite game, and that is Star Citizen. We're here to hang out with our good friends and fellow streamers and advocates of the game and all that good jazz. And so without further ado, let's get everybody introduced here. As you see, down here starting at the bottom corner, we have Mr. Eric McKetton.
I'm sorry, I thought we were here for Line of Defense.
No. This is not the Line of Defense Club. Sorry.
Okay, I'll try to keep up.
Yeah, try to keep up. And down in the middle here, we have Mr. Zealous Fox, not looking very Fox-like right now, but, you know, he's looking good, though.
A raptor laughing is still one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life.
But graphically, you've got to admit, to having a raptor on a green screen and then chroma keyed out, that looks fucking awesome. That face rig is working.
You want to see something funny?
Go for it. Ah! The tongue on that one. Good Lord. You know, this is an 18 and over, but it's not NC-17, so be careful there, sir. Mr. Stoutman looking very comfy over there.
I'm in my blanket. It's
There you
cold
go.
in space.
There you go. Staying warm on the dark side of the planet there. And then Mr. Baby Daddy himself up here, Mr. Nighthawk. Welcome.
Evening, everybody.
There we go. And everybody hopefully knows me. I got my name above my head in case you forget, because I'm not that important, but I'm here. Anyway, so guys, we've had another long week of Star Citizen, and we've seen everybody trying to fill in the gap stuff. I know everybody's working hard on the testing aspects, and they really want to get this 2.4 build out, but we're just not quite there yet. Not quite there yet.
Yeah, what'd they say today that on how many bugs and stuff have been reported on 2.4?
I think there's a whole thread on the list of blockers, actually, too, that people are bringing up. But I know it's been really, we've all been cautious because we know we have several of our friends have been in the Evocati testing group, which we can actually mention it by name now because since it's been on ATV and stuff like that. But,
well, it was never a violation of the NDA to mention Evocati or say you're in it. It's just a violation to say basically what you're doing in it beyond I'm testing.
We just don't really broach the subject a lot because we're not trying to get anybody in trouble or anything like that.
It makes it very difficult. I'm in the Evocati, and it does make it difficult to talk about what's coming on for 2.4, because they release stuff. They say, hey, in 2.4, we're planning on doing this or this. And then, but you're in the Evocati, and you may or may not have tested that, this or that thing. And you can't necessarily remember just off the top of your head, is this something I've actually played with, or is this something I just read about them talking about? Am I allowed to talk about this? How far can I go into this conversation before I start talking about stuff I'm not supposed to?
Yeah, like where's the line at? I mean, and it's important because, we want people that we know and trust that are going to be there to do the issue council and not just click the buttons, but be there and do it correctly. Me and Stout were talking about this earlier. It's, the context of what you report and everything is really important to not only the development of the game, but, I feel like a lot of guys up to this point have, those people that actually have attempted to go in the issue council, there's a lot of people that are just clicking buttons. They're just hitting buttons, hoping that it's going to roll the dice and they're going to get in and do all that stuff.
To give you an idea of why Evocati is so important for development, they said, was it like 90% or 95% of all participants in Evocati have done some serious effort, not just like logged in, but
absolutely.
Not 94%, I think.
94%.
94%.
94%.
Compare that, the stats they said for the average PTUs is something like by the time the PTU's over, it averages 25% of the people who are invited to the PTU who have access to it do more than just log in once to look around.
Absolutely.
That's why Evocati is people pick that they know are going to download every patch, go in there and spend hours at a time crashing over and over again just to see what happens when they crash over and over again.
Yeah, and not only that, being in Discord and being available where if a dev needs you to perform a certain task, you're there to do a true alpha test like what I would remember from 10, 12 years ago. Please break the rock with a hammer 5,000 times. And it's boring as shit. That's the way you used to alpha test. This whole metric over the last decade of like alpha testings and early beta has been emulated by the consoles and stuff, and it's kind of ruined the whole perception of what an alpha actually is. And
Well-
to be honest, Star Citizen's kind of ruined what the perception of alpha is too, because it's amazing for what an
You,
alpha
you,
is.
you
dude,
were,
but-
I think everybody here was involved in the 2.3 PTU, right?
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And you remember for a while there, they were absolutely, the big blocker was the damn AI spawning infinitely.
Yes.
And they would get on Discord and they'd say, okay, we think this is causing it. We need everybody to log in, go to this comm array, and try to spawn as many AI as possible. And what would end up happening inevitably is, 5 or 10 of us would do that. And the other 5 or 10 in the server would think it would be funny to then ram the guys that were trying to spawn the AI or kill the AI when the devs are sitting there in the server chat with CIG on their name saying, please do not kill the pirates. We want to see how many will spawn. And there's some jackass flying through killing the pirates going, well, this is a game. If I play the game how I want to. And that's one of the reasons why Evocati came about, is because the people that focused on that did that, it told the devs how useful it is to have that core group of people.
Which I would like to thank all those griefers right now, because I think the way they've forced CIG to actually do it now is so much better than the random haphazard way. So indirectly, people being assholes have actually helped the development of the game. So there you go. Griefers doing good.
That pretty
People
much
that are
always,
being dicks are getting removed out of the PTU period.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
that's
Because
the other
they're
thing.
not like what you're talking about there, Eric. Half the people are just killing everybody else just because they can. It's like that. That's not PTU. That's just being.
And there is going to come a time and a place for testing that griefing method, but right now is not the time to do that. I mean, keeping people suppressed in order for them to develop NPCs and AI systems to prevent that in the actual live game in the safe zones, that'll be relevant. But that's so far down the road from where we are. We have to get this general AI spawn done. We have to get the actual mechanics tested. There's so many other things. So I think the Evocati is like a necessity. And another number just to throw out there, I think they said also originally when they first started doing PTU invites and opening it up wide, 70%, and this is what Disco was saying, 70% of those people would log in that one day and that's it. So they try to fight so hard to get in, be in their first day, say, oh, this is the content, and they were done. That's it. They're and it's like, and not only that, think about all the people that would test they were keeping out of it. That's the big thing too. So
and that's another thing. They've been talking about that they are reworking the PTU system. They've removed people that don't contribute or that cause problems, and they're going to start inviting new people again eventually. I don't think it's going to happen like next week or whenever the next live PTU is, but they're going to do a new round of invites, I think, to a new group of people who may not have been in first wave or second wave PTU in the past.
Yeah.
Because those other people that were causing problems or weren't helping.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories from the last PTU is, again, it had to do with the AI. They wanted us to deactivate and reactivate comm arrays going down the line to see how that would affect the AI spawning. And there was 2 guys who thought it would be funny they EVA'd into a comm array that was deactivated, and they would sit there and shoot anybody that tried to EVA in through that corridor. And they had rifles that were better than pistols, whatever they had on them.
Yeah.
And it was extremely difficult, especially with the desync issues, to kill those guys and get past them. And if you killed the one, the chances are the other guy would kill you anyways. And by the time you got back there, the other guy would be back as well, defending it again. And their excuse for it was they were role playing as pirates. The very next day, those 2 guys were on the subreddit complaining that they no longer had PTU access and they didn't know why.
Yeah. No, it's like in my case, I got really busy at work before I was relieved of my job there about 4 weeks ago, and so I didn't really get to play a lot for about a week and a half, 2 weeks in the game, and I didn't get an invite back to the PTU because I wasn't contributing, I wasn't doing all that, and I have no problem with that. I mean, that's the way it should be. I want people in there that can test and do all that stuff, and if I can't do that, somebody else needs to do it. I think they need to, people that have that access, they need to make sure if they're trying to maintain a balance of people and you can't test, then there should be a process to say, hey, I'm not going to be able to continue to test this. I just want to get removed from the group. And then you could get reconsidered later when you have more available time.
Right.
Because, that's going to be a better metric than them always having to run an algorithm. And the thing we didn't broach about that is everybody's like, well, big deal, we were all in the PTU. Who cares if we played for a day or not? Well, I think both Xylo and Disco really addressed another issue that stemmed from this. If you're not going to the PTU to test, CIG spends a shit ton of money downloading this client to you over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
So they're blowing our money that we're investing in the game for you to go there and dick around and not actually test anything.
Yeah.
That's why when I grief and kill people, I do it, I don't know, in the regular game. Because that's
Now,
if I want to.
Stoutman has actual experience in this. How much money would you imagine it costs for them to send out 30 gigabytes even once a week to?
I have no idea.
No idea?
It's relatively cheap these days, but when they're doing it, they're just doing it for a few hundred people, like they're doing it right now, it's not that bad. But when they're doing it for 25, 50, 100,000 people, then it's a huge amount of money.
Yeah,
it's sometimes 3 times in a day to 50,000 people. It's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a lot.
And they got to get the patcher system done to where they're just downloading what they need to, not these entire 2 gig files. I'm surprised they still haven't done that. That's really that should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad that the Evocati is working out so well now. I'm glad we're getting better reports, and for people that want or have the availability and have the time to actually do the test the way they're supposed to, get in Discord and do that stuff. I encourage you, even if they're not openly selecting more people for the group right now, now's the time to report bugs even in the regular game. If you're not in the PT using those things, you go in, report the bugs, and if you don't have bugs to report, go in and just support the facts of bugs and don't just bullshit and hit, I seen it. They want context. They want, how did you experience? Write a couple sentences there at least. Give them something to go on because, bullshitting's not getting us anywhere.
Here's what I tell people all the time. They want to get involved in the PTU and they're like, but, all the bugs are already reported and whatnot. Go to the issue council right now, tonight. If you log into your Star System, have it open on your other monitor. If you have another monitor, before you log into your Star System, open it up, sort by newest. Look at the new bugs that are in there. See if you recognize a bug that you can attempt to replicate because you have the ship or you have the experience or whatever it is to do it. Then see if it's a bug that you've reported on or replicated before. If not, go into Star Citizen and attempt to replicate it. Do it 5 times if you can. And then if you can replicate it 5 times, go on there and say, 5 out of 5 times I attempted to do this and it happened every time. Absolutely. You do that for 10, 20 bugs and you put in that just a little bit of detail. And that's going to set you apart from the guy that goes and clicks yes on 200 frickin' reports. Because I know there are people, because they've complained to me, well, I went through and I've contributed to hundreds of issue council reports, and I'm not invited yet. Okay, well, what exactly did you do? Oh, I clicked that I could do it. Well, that doesn't necessarily help them at all. If it's an issue council report that 100 people have already said they can do it, they know the bug exists. What they need is, what they're looking for is that one guy or 2 guys out there that go through and they explain why they think the bug exists or what happened before and after. Those are other important things. When, especially like crashing in the game, when you crash in the game, it's not sufficient enough for them to know what you were doing when you crashed. Oftentimes what causes crashes on the client side is what you were doing before that session crashed. Were you in Arena Commander before you went into Crusader? Were you in your hangar? And did you take the elevator to Crusader? Or did you use the menu to join Crusader? All those little things can make the difference.
What other applications were you running on your system? Were you streaming? All that stuff's really relevant, guys, because all goes into netcode and all that stuff. The other piece of advice I can say is, like, if you don't have the time to do these things, you don't want to do the issue council, shut the fuck up and quit bitching. Just, you know what I mean? Because it's like, who cares? You can't stream it. You can't talk about it. You can't, it's buggy. Be patient like the rest of us and just wait. If you want to get in there and test and you have the time, that's great, do it. But I get so tired of these crybabies that, like, they don't want to put forth the effort and they're bitching about not being there. And then when they do get in, all they do is go and blow up the forums about shit they're not supposed to say and cry about, this thing's so fucking broken, you don't even know how bad it is. I'm like, that's great, bro.
And if you really want to make the effort, the other thing you can do is join the Star Citizen Discord and ask the developers when they're in there what needs to be tested right now. What needs to be done right now. They will tell you. There is always something that they want looked at more. 9 times out of 10, it's crashes. That's what they're really focused on is if you get an error code 7 or an error code 5 or an error code 1, whatever it is, report it and tell them what happened when it, what was going on when it happened, because those are the ones they're really working on trying to nail down since 2.0 pretty much came out, and they can never get enough reports on that. Bearded, I can't remember what his real name is, but Bearded CIG, the guy with the huge, the Rasputin beard, he said in Discord one time that his life is all about looking at code 7s, and he loves code 7s. The more code 7s he gets, the closer they are to figuring out what the hell's causing code 7.
It's like plugging a leak in a dam. That's all those code 7s help him do that.
I thought Xylo caused code 7s. He told me that one time.
Xylo code 7's
life.
life.
I remember. heard him saying that in your chat.
Yeah. No,
Well, if I can interject,
Go ahead. Go ahead,
they
Tom.
also have upgraded the issue council system now so that you can actually include screenshots and URLs to
There
videos.
you go.
And it's not that difficult to do something like that. You just turn on your shadow play before you start gaming, open up OBS. It's a free app that you can download. I mean, there are ways that you can do those little extra visual captures that really help them out, and they appreciate that.
You can utilize YouTube if you make it a private video, because you're not putting content out there that's viewable to everybody. So if you do a private video and then link it over, you don't even have to worry about having to upload speed or anything like that. So it's purely acceptable. That's a great point, Nighthawk. I didn't even think about that.
Well, just anytime I get something weird happen, I just hit screenshot button. I do that all the time. And when I go to the issue council, I will just sit there. I'll just look down the list and I'll go, yeah, I've had that one. I've had that one. I don't even have to sit there and look at ones and try to duplicate it myself. I can just go every other one or every third one I've already had. So I will say, yes, I've had this, and I will say it's happened to me 3 times in the last day, or it also happened to me in this ship. Also, just adding any information.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's all you need to do. It's easy.
Yep. I have to ask Eric, were you drinking a Surge?
Yes, I was.
I saw you drinking a Surge. I was like, that's a Surge. I know what that is.
An invisible Surge, no less.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy. I haven't seen a Surge in forever.
I know, they just came back out, and oh my god, I'm loving it.
Oh, boy.
You know, an interesting thing about Surge that I didn't realize, I always assumed that it was like worse than Mountain Dew. A 16-ounce can of Surge has less sugar than a 12-ounce can of Mountain Dew.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, I knew Mountain Dew had a shitload of sugar, but I didn't realize that much.
No, it's just the throat cancer they include in the can of Surge. That's the bad stuff. So, all right. Well, we've hammered you guys about the issue council enough. There's a couple elements that I know we wanted to hit on. There was some good back and forth on the 10 for the developers, but nothing that we haven't heard and we haven't gone over. And if you guys have any questions about the game or you're new to the whole deal and all that, you're free to obviously ask any questions anytime during the stream, and we'll get around to them as soon as we can. But I do definitely want to touch on a couple elements with at least the ship updates real quick. They've gone back and forth in that. We still don't have any dates on the Herald. I've heard they're working on the new Hornet design. How do you guys feel about them redesigning the Hornet?
I'm for it.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. The Hornet's the Hornet to me. I don't know if it needs a rework.
Well, and they talked about how it's not going to be as blocky as it is right now, but I think the blockiness is part of its appeal.
It's a really popular ship because of its current design, to be honest.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I hope they don't change it too much. I mean, modernize it a little bit to get the new tech in there and stuff, but leave it pretty much looking the same.
I hope it flies the same and acts the same. I don't care visually if they want to tweak it and to bring it up to stylize and everything else. I think the Hornet's supposed to have that. What was it, like a P-72 or what? The old Cannon, like World War II tanky feel ship
The
for
P-52 Mustang.
Yeah, the Mustang. So and that's
The
the way Chris
P-52
always pointed out.
Mustang was not. Oh, B-51 Mustang was not a tank.
51.
That was the
You're thinking of the
Corsair.
or the Corsair.
The Wildcat.
Yeah, the Wildcat. That's what
The
I think of.
Hellcat.
I look the Hellcat and the Wildcat, or the Wildcat specifically, is what I think of when I think of the Hornet.
There you go.
And it's just the big blocky, the Corsairs, those bigger combination fighter bombers and whatnot.
Yep.
I mean, the Corsair had such a bigger nose you couldn't even see over it when you were taking off. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, and then we have the information, and we've had it for a little while, on the concept of the Buccaneer is going to be about $110 when it comes out. Now, in my knowledge, how big is this ship?
The Buccaneer?
Yeah, because it's supposed to fit. Isn't it supposed to be companion for like the
It's
Caterpillar
about
or something?
It's a companion for the Caterpillar. It's probably going to be slightly smaller than the Cutlass, or about the same size.
How big is the freaking Caterpillar? If like the Buccaneer's supposed to be about the size of the Cutlass and be...
They hinted at it being like triple the size of its original concept.
I was going to say, because I remember the White Box's first concept they were working on, like when they were showing the pieces of it, and it didn't look like no Cutlass was fitting inside of that thing at all.
It's certainly larger.
It wasn't
than
supposed to fit
Constellation.
inside of it. It was supposed to be fitting on the outside of it.
Okay, so it's supposed to be like a mount to it.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
The Buccaneer is an interesting thing. I'm not entirely sure I'm on board with it, and I'm a big Drake fan. But
I wasn't on
just
board with
I'm
the
of a mind.
Prospector till I saw it either, though. But
Well, that's true. I just right now I'm kind of burnt out on combat ships. I want to start seeing ships for other career paths.
Yeah.
So
we've had this discussion pretty much 4 weeks in a row, and that's what every one of us has said every time is we're sick of combat ships. Give us something else.
I like killing people a lot, but I want a job. Give me
Well,
an
next
occupational
week they're
ships.
going into more depth about the Caterpillar, so that'll be nice.
That will be cool.
yeah,
That will
I'm
be
really looking forward to that as a Caterpillar owner
Now if they
because
bring
I
out
want
the
to know.
Caterpillar and then bring out a whole bunch of guns on it, I'll be like, oh.
And the next big ship after the Caterpillar is the Carrack, and so that's an occupation ship.
God.
So, yeah, I can't wait. That's my baby. I just want her to be hangar ready, however, whatever that means, because I don't think she's going to fit in any. They already had to expand the hangars pretty damn big for that Starfare, and the Carrack is what, twice the length of the Starfare.
Well, and the Caterpillar's going to be huge too now, right? So
123 meters.
I don't know.
Yeah, 120 something. Yeah, you can fit 2 constellations lengthwise in a Carrack and still have room left over. I remember that was one of the things they said.
So are they going to continue to just scale up our hangar? Or I know at one point Chris Roberts had talked about you'd go like take the elevator and go to like a space dock or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe go through like a bridge or a mooring like it would be at Port Olisar, but it'd still be your hangar kind of thing, but you'd be transported to that area in space because the ships are so freaking big. We're getting like Warehouse 13 type stuff now, where it's like the size of a small country.
I think they said something today that hinted at that, because didn't they say in Reverse the Verse that multiplayer hangars is coming very soon?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the key, is that you will be able to leave your hangar probably via the elevator, and it'll take you to a docking collar where your big ship is docked outside. At first, probably still within the hangar itself, within that map. But eventually, it'll be the docking collar outside Olisar or whatever other area it is.
That'd be really cool.
And I think that's what we're going to see initially for those really big ones, is something like that.
And it makes sense to me because you could spawn your ship on the terminal and it would just be there, and then you could just go that. You might not be able to fly it around yet, but you could at least go into the ship, and that'd be awesome.
That was 2 of their ideas I've linked in the chat.
That first one looks really cool with the Cutlass actually like
Partially.
Transforming inside of it and turning it into Voltron.
See, here's the other thing, though. Is I'm a big fan of Star Trek. I've always been a big fan of Star Trek. And I'm one of those weird Star Trek people where I like the original motion picture, because that first hour or so really makes you feel like you're in a sci-fi environment where you start off planet side and you're in this big giant headquarters facility, and then you're teleported up to some space station where you hop onto a tiny little 4-man 6-man transport pod that will take you over to the ship yard where you finally dock with the ship and take off from there. And I think that something like the Carrack would breed an opportunity for that, because the Carrack is at the smallest end of what Ben Lesnick has declared cap ship, which is 100 meters or larger. So,
but the cool thing about that is the Carrack does come with its own scout ship of some sort.
It does,
And so that could, that's just like with the 890 Jump. The 85X is a little sports car, but it's also probably going to serve as a shuttle getting to and from that ship. That
85X is going to be amazing. That's like a 2-seater M50.
Yeah, it's damn sexy looking in that concept art they put out in the monthly report too.
Yeah, put those images up there.
Mitt is going to click on the wrong tab, and we're going to watch whatever he was watching for porn before the stream.
No, I use the other computer for all that, and I make sure it's not linked in. We got a porn computer over there. It's all good. We keep them separated.
So what really intrigues me about the Caterpillar and the fact that they're getting closer and closer to being done with it is that the Caterpillar is to Drake what the Starfarer was to Misk. This is the keystone for its visual profile. From here on out, we're going to start getting the fast rollout for the Cutlass remodel, for the Buccaneer, for even the Dragonfly potentially. And it's going to be amazing to see, because I think that Dragonfly might be a direct competitor for the P-52 and P-72.
And that's going to be good, because frankly, I've never been impressed with the art style of the Cutlass. It never, they talked about Drake being this gritty kind of industrial feel to it. But the Cutlass looks
Yeah.
more MISC than it does anything else. You know, it looks like MISC could have manufactured it.
Yeah.
I
And-
think, now with the way that they finally settled into the MISC look, So I'm really eager to see what they do with the Caterpillar.
Yeah, I am too, because the description of Drake makes it sound like ships I want to own, especially the Caterpillar. From the first moment, from the Kickstarter, I wanted a Caterpillar, but you know, the very early on, they said the Caterpillar probably won't debut for a long, long time, so that's why I didn't back for a Caterpillar. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because all these Caterpillar owners, I mean, God, how long have they been waiting? They've been waiting since 2012 for this damn ship. It's one of the only ships from the 2012 that hasn't been made yet.
I got mine 2013, and I've been sitting on it for a while.
Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
that means I got a cat ship, since the official definition of a capital ship is 100 meters.
Well, that's Ben's
True.
definition. Bear in mind that
Yeah,
Ben's definition.
that's Ben.
A
last
naval
editing
definition of a capital
opportunity.
ship is much different from what
Well,
Ben
yeah, it's not a military capital.
Well, that's the thing. Well, it is a military ship, but that's the thing. I mean, would you consider an 890 jump a capital ship? Nobody would consider that. It's a luxury yacht. Just because it's that big doesn't make it a capital ship, you know. And that's part of what goes into defining what a capital ship is what it can do, not just its size. I mean, an oil tanker is not a capital ship, but they're some of the biggest ships ever manufactured.
Yeah,
They're just
absolutely.
they're just
True.
big.
Well, it's
It's
just
just
like comparison of the whole series ships.
Yeah.
You know, where we have the whole E's. They're, I mean, I can't remember the length of those, but you got to think they're going to expand with all the new, you know, storage units and all the things they've redone, because they've redone every aspect of transport that would lock into the whole series.
Anything,
ships. So it's
anything
gonna be
that could that carries anything has been redone.
that thing's going to be a monster to look at. A whole E sprawling out.
372 meters is the whole E. 372 meters long.
That's insane.
104 meters wide. And it is the width
Biggest.
of the length of a Carrack and the height of the length of a Carrack. So it is 2 Carracks crossing a T and then 3 Carracks long. I mean, it's massive.
And
I
it's
don't know
also
if
the
you guys-
biggest ship you can own right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watch many of Board Gamer's videos, but I think about a week ago, he put out something for Star Citizen Ship Scale Viewer, where someone took the Holo Viewer models
Right.
and they put it into like a little Unity level where
Right.
it's everything is to scale, and you can just walk around the Holo Viewer models, and it's
Yeah.
insane to walk around these things because you're so familiar with some of these ships and their relative size to yourself when you're actually in the game, and then to step into a quote unquote game
Right.
engine that allows you to see the scale of some of these things is just ridiculous. I can't wait.
And I'd say even on that note, from when I first pledged in, it's been it's been a while ago now. But watching the guys on CryEngine originally do the scaling and walk through. I used to watch Citizen Dare and everybody fly through and do that. When you do it yourself, even on that, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing to go around these models and look at that. It's pretty crazy and stuff. Nolurk, I did want to touch on. Because we've been doing a lot in my streams, the comparisons to Eve and Star Citizen stuff. He said he likes Eve's approach to the ship storage / hangar aspect, where you fly into an instance area of the station, which leads to an instance hangar, and then the elevator sends you to a social area of the station. Instance areas can help with the landing in planet-side like Area 18, he feels too. And there, to a point, that's what Chris Roberts talked about with the zoning stuff
Right.
and all that. I mean, that's kind of the mechanic, although Eve is a true instance where you get a load screen. It might be a very brief load screen for those of us who have learned if you play Eve Online, you have to run an SSD to survive. But anytime you enter an exit station and stuff in there, I think in Star Citizen they're going for a bit immersion more. I do like where Nolurk's pointing out that using the instance system, and I think that is the direction they're going to a certain
Right.
point, but they're making it seamless instancing, where you transition from instance to instance and you have the perception of still being there. That's the
Right.
way you go from inside one area to another. And on top of that, the way they've developed the game engine, for those of you who've watched Star Citizen for like over the last year or so, you can see what's happening in the other instance. So if you're inside Port Olisar, eventually, if it's busy enough and you're outside Port Olisar, you're in two separate zones, so to speak. You can still see through the glass what's going
Right.
on there, even though you're not actively in the zone. So they've figured out a way to filter down
Right.
all the information. You don't need to know the sounds. You don't need to know the inputs. All you need is the visualization of where the person is, and that's a real-time instance of where they are inside there that you were seeing from another zone.
Initially, we were going to have hidden loading screens, such as the automated landing sequence was going to be a hidden loading screen, where it would basically play a sequence that while it was doing that, it's loading the next instance. Same with elevators are going to be hidden loading screens like they are in Mass Effect games. But when they discovered what they could do with procedural and 64-bit, they threw that out the window. They don't want to do any more loading screens at all beyond you loading into the game itself. From then on, they want it to be 100% seamless from the moment you step into your hangar or step out of your cryopod or whatever it is to the moment you die on the other side of the galaxy. It is going to be seamless the entire time.
And that's a lot of what this back-end development's been over the last 6 months. We've seen some big bursts of stuff come out, but to a lot of us, if you haven't been following the development of the game closely, you look at it in one frame, you go 2 months, you look at another frame, it doesn't look like anything's changed according to the alpha, but they've been doing the item port system, they've been doing all this backend stuff to emulate all this instancing seamlessly from one transition error. Now that we have that language and all that stuff in there, when they start rolling more stuff out, it's going to be truly seamless. When you go through an airlock, you don't feel like, oh, here's the loading bar, and even though it doesn't bother me in EVE Online, it's good to see that game development's gone in the direction of eliminating that.
Is Zealous muted?
No.
Oh, okay,
no, he's just flapping his gums over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say your avatar's talking, but there was no sound. I was wondering if you accidentally muted yourself.
Thank you for the follow, by the way.
And another one.
But anyway, somebody die? What happened? But yeah, definitely. I think all those aspects are going to be really neat. We're going to head and move forward. I do want to play this video real quick.
Yes.
Small aspect here where we're seeing, and this is not to Fidelity. This is a lot of boxing with just skin over it and all that stuff. But this is just the video of the piping system that they showed, the brief glimpse. The best part of ATV for me this week was just seeing some of that come online, and we'll watch it real quick here for you guys.
Yeah.
So.
And we can't comment live because we're seeing it with the 30-second delay.
Well, that's okay. I'm disco dancing to the intro.
Speaking of disco, check out that tweet that he just sent. I just linked to it.
The funny thing is I can comment to it live because I can see it. They're going to see it. They'll hear me then. But I'll go back through and freeze frame some of this stuff.
Yeah. Now, this is what I love the most about this, we're seeing the new use menu system that they've been prototyping. Mm-hmm. They've talked about this, that in the future, the use key, instead of just being used, it's going to be something you can scroll through with your mouse wheel to select various options, such as, enter seat or enter seat quickly or whatever it may be.
I'll tell you what I want. I want that repair gun you got, where it's your assault rifle, but it repairs shit too.
Yeah.
Dude, what I like is that they're going to have some bulkheads and access hatches that actually allow you to hand pump the mechanism to get through the bulkhead
anyways. That is so much like ships.
Oh my God.
Like in
Fantastic.
the Navy, like when they go offline of automation, you got to get the hand cranks out and pump them open and close them and seal doors.
Yeah,
right
Chris said early on that he wanted Star Trek-like manual overrides for everything.
Yep.
Starfare has manual overrides on all the doors all over the place.
Yeah. So ultimately that will be something that we'll have eventually. And that was part of his idea for boarding, was that let's say you're boarding a hostile ship and they've got it locked down. If you can cut the power to that door, then you can cut out the electronic lock and then you can manually override it to get through that door and move on. It's just going to take you longer and it's going to leave you vulnerable while you're doing it.
Well, yeah, and if you're in a firefight and somebody hits that lock on the other side and they're delaying you and you have to sit there and pump on the door, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame then for you to breach and get entry and all that stuff. So it's going to be really interesting. I thought it was interesting that there's a difference, and they actually have alarms keyed into this pipe system too. So that way, if you manually turn it off, no alarm, but you come in and shoot it, the alarms go off. So it's kind of, if somebody's like destroying a switch or if they're actually just turned it off. So that's going to be an interesting thing to play with when you're doing boarding mechanics and stuff. But
And they're
best
showing
part
us
of
how
all-
you shoot at the annoying alarm to shut the alarm up too, which
I
is
want
important.
to know, and I can't believe nobody asked this, and I tried to ask too late in RTV today because nobody really talked about this video. What, like, nobody
I know.
asked any question. Don't they always say at ATV, and we'll talk more about that video tomorrow, and blah, blah, blah. There's
Yeah.
nothing. I was like, nobody's saying anything about this. So I was trying to ask a question, but I first did it in the wrong chat, so it's my own bad, and then I did it over in the actual, stream chat thing, and at the RSI website, and it was too late, and then he was like, yeah, I'm going off there. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, the whole fact, I want to know environmentally how that whole decompression system's going
I
to
know!
work. I'm like, is it just going to suck you out? Is
It
it going to
wasn't
suck you
even
out?
mentioned in the video. It just happens at
No,
the end.
it's
And
just there. It's
so
like,
obviously they are testing it constantly.
Oh.
It's to the point that it's a standard part of their testing level. Because yes, that was the thing. I know that's what got me. The two things that I liked was the new menu context system that
Yeah.
they have, and explosive decompression at the end. And it was like, what's going on with that? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. We're just showing you electrical pipes.
we're just
Screw
teasing
the
it.
electrical pipes. Tell me about the damn
teasing you a little
decompression.
bit.
You
I
know?
know. I'm like, I want to know how that works because it's a gravity shift.
They shared some today, so
Yeah.
and it looked like it was working. It was sucking out the stuff that's close by, and then the door shut. And if you're at the back of the room, you were okay for
And you
so
saw
many
him when he
seconds.
moved forward, though, a little bit right before it slammed
Yeah.
closed. It did pull him.
Yep.
When he was close to it, it started to pull him, and then the door shut, and he was okay. And it was like, oh, it's going to be so cool.
It's like I hope you don't get like your ankles broken when you have mag boots on, and that happens.
Oh, that's a great idea,
Oh, wow.
actually, Zealous.
Yeah, would it hurt people?
There's a
Like,
good-
if you're close enough, get the stuff? It's like,
Well, that depends. How much force is actually applied during it?
Well, it's sucking out like
boxes that we can't move ourselves on the ground, usually.
That's actually something I'm going to have to look up now. Is how much force is applied during explosive decompression, just in atmosphere, because we know that much.
And if you timed it right, could it suck you through the little hole gap
Yes.
between the
Like
shields
in
there? Like
Alien
folding in half?
Resurrection.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
yeah.
When he shot the hole, I was like,
Yeah.
is he going to get sucked apart through the little
Yeah.
damn hole? Or
Or in the Expanse where they had the leak, the guy got his head blown off when they're all strapped in
Yep.
in the Expanse series, and like they're sucking. Oh yeah, we gotta plug that. Hurry, plug it. It was good. I
see,
wanna
that's the
see
thing
that
is
stuff.
the Expanse does a lot more. Most movies when they do explosive decompression, it is an explosion and everybody's dead. That's how they set it up in the movies. But the Expanse did it right. It would take a while to lose all the oxygen, and then based on our experiments, you have between 15 seconds to a minute before you die from exposure to vacuum. We don't know exactly how long. We do know that people can stay conscious for at least 15 seconds,
Yep.
and it could take a minute or more before death occurs.
It's not something we practice a lot in real life. So.
Right, yeah. It's not something we the Russians did some experiments with animals, and the extent of our public knowledge on it comes from a guy who had a pressure failure during a test in a vacuum chamber, and he's the one that he lasted 15 seconds before he passed out, and it was 45 seconds before they got in there and got the pressure equalized, and he survived, other than some ultimately minor trauma to his capillaries, bruising and whatnot. But
Yep. Yeah, I got in trouble the other night on my stream because we had some Russian viewers when I started talking about cosmonauts being shot into space and not coming home and stuff, and conspiracy theory stuff. So anyway, I'm careful on the subject. But yeah, somebody got struck.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
tried to post a link.
Yeah, guys, go in my Discord if you want to post links and stuff, and we can review them there because I don't give a lot of permissions in and out. But in Discord, anything you can post, and we can link it over, and people can watch it and all that stuff.
Want me to go ahead and give him permission? It's just a YouTube link, so it can't be that bad, regardless.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's cool.
fine. I'm just saying what I always do is or just relink it for them. What I always do is I just have everybody go in Discord, and it's easy for us to drag and drop
There we
for
go.
it.
We are just
He got it.
we're like
He got him permitted there. He might still be timed out for the.
he's still
size
timed
of it.
out. It's 2
Oh.
minutes.
How do you just click on timeout again to reverse it?
I just leave it because it's 2 minutes. They'll get over it. They'll get over it.
There.
timeout always confuses me because originally when they first introduced
you
it,
got to be
if you
careful
just
because if you do it again, sometimes it thinks you're retiming them out, and
Yep.
then it'll ban them. And then I'm like, oh, now I got to unban people.
that's when they first introduced it, you could time somebody out for whatever the set time was, and then if you just clicked timeout on them again, it would reset it back to 0.
Yep.
But then they changed it so now
Yep.
it's stepped, like you said. So if you click on them again, it's like 600 seconds. Now they're timed out for a
It's like
freaking
2
hour.
strike.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, and they didn't really. It was like in one little patch note.
Yeah.
That's it. They didn't really notify. It's like
We all found
by
that
the way,
out
change
because
that.
when we started accidentally banning our viewers
Yeah, I
trying
was
to
like,
turn off.
where the fuck did everybody go? It's like, sorry, my bad. But yeah, we in my channel usually we just have everybody pile on Discord, and then you can sit there and post chats or whatever, and that way I can just auto save to my drive the nudie pictures, and then I can post the ones that are okay to put on Twitch, and it's all good. Then it's like I have the Mitachi filter, so I
Right.
get both. But
And
no.
yes, Mitt does accept nudie pictures of yourself. The hairier and more overweight, the better.
As long as you let Eric preview them first.
That's right.
Because there's a whole channel in test. It's called I think it's called Eric McKetton. If
It's-
you go to
it's-
that channel, and that's where you post all those at. It's the
Actually,
preview.
the title is McKetton Faps to your pictures.
There
That's
you
what
go.
it is.
Yep. And if you want to get them permanently linked on the main page, you have to put them in Supreme Tokyo's chat over there, and then it'll just stay forever. It's like embroidered there. So
He would hate you.
And make
He
sure
would
you
so
leave it
hate
with the cucumber lime Gatorade for him.
there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That stuff is nasty, by the way. I tried that too after
yeah.
you tried it. I had to see what it's like. Don't ever get cucumber lime Gatorade, folks.
Cucumber lime. That doesn't even sound like something I would.
Well, that's the
ever
thing
even
is,
attempt.
is I saw it when I saw it in the store. I was like, why would I ever drink that? Then Tokyo tried it on stream and was like, oh my god, this is hideous. So then, of course, I had to try it.
Of
you know?
course. 'Cause it's like,
And he's
Oh,
right.
boy.
It was hideous. I had like 2 sips and threw the rest of the bottle away. It was bad.
ever.
Sounds like an April Fool's Day joke went
It does. Yeah, it's like somebody screwed up and they pushed the wrong mixer buttons at the Gatorade factory. And we're like, well, screw it. We'll sell it anyways.
Yeah, there was a while there where I was watching Tokyo, and I don't know, because Tokyo, one of the great things, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to watch Supreme Tokyo, you absolutely should do it, because one of the best things about his stream is he'll read anything in his chat, because he has no filter. So I'll sit there, I'll just type, and don't type anything dirty, but you'll type crazy stuff in there, and he'll just start reading. He's like, and then I like to kick off my shoes, and oh, Matachi, you can't write that in my chat, because he just reads it verbatim aloud on the stream. It's great.
My favorite thing is Tokyo is famous for misreading and mispronouncing things.
everything.
And one of my favorite things to do is I will tag him and I will take sections from the Dr. Seuss tongue twister, Fox and Socks, and put that in because it is an insanely hard to read tongue
Oh
twister.
my god, that's good.
And if you've ever been to any type of broadcasting school, that's you have to learn how to read Fox and Socks as fast as possible without making mistakes. That's one of the things they do to teach you to practice your enunciation. So I know how hard it is to read that thing, and I'll take sections of it and tag it and post them in there, and he'll try reading it, and every time he screws it up and he gets angry with me, and he'll like time me out for a minute or two. But it's so worth it to watch him stumble and slur over those words. Because it always takes him like until he's halfway through it before he realizes he's getting trolled again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the other thing I should mention too is something I was glad got a little more exposure on ATV this week was Voice Attack.
Yeah.
And that's a great program. A lot of you guys always ask us, like, when you hear it, and I haven't run mine in a while. I'm getting it reset up again. But you always hear it on Eric's stream. He's always got it there. A lot of the other guys too. And it's such a great application that a lot of people, including myself, had been using it outside in other apps and stuff,
Right.
because it's like a great AI companion. And when you have so many controls in a game, like you do in Star Citizen, it can make it so much better to when you don't have it, you don't know what the hell to do.
Nice.
You
And
know?
I've had several people ask me this. I cannot knowingly recommend the HCS voice packs because I've never used them. So I can't say, yeah, I recommend that, or no, I don't recommend it. What I always recommend to people is learn to program Voice Attack yourself. It is not that difficult to learn how to do it.
Yep.
It is mostly a point and click interface. For 90% of what you're going to do is a point and click interface. And learning how to program it, you can then change things to your liking. If you don't know how it works, you buy one of those voice packs, or even if you get the free voice pack like Anna for Star Citizen,
Yep.
and you want to change something, you don't know how to change it. You don't know where the command is. You don't know what, you just know what you're supposed to say to get the command to work. That's it. If you take the time, it took me 2 days to initially learn how to program my first Star Citizen profile. And back then, voice attack was very hard to learn. And now there are tutorials and all that out there. So take the time to learn it.
Yeah, I am not a programmer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a hardware guy, and I could program it pretty easily. It is not hard. You can do anything from macro keys on there to full command line. Like you can do multiple button push. You can record your own sound clips to play back as audio thing. If you ever listen to Anarchos, where he does like the droid stuff, where it's sound clips, or you can do more like what Eric has, where it's a text-to-speech response off of different things he's been there, and you can buy higher-end voice packages for that if you want, but it's not necessary. I actually went into Audition for a while, the Adobe program, and I could just record my own voice clips and just modulate them and do whatever I want with them, and then just play them back as a sound clip whenever they do the macro. So it's really fun to mess with.
And I know a lot of people are like, it'd be really cool to have, William Shatner talking to you in Star Citizen. That sounds cool at first, but if you paid attention to those clips they showed of it, all of his responses were fairly long-winded because it's William Shatner.
Yeah.
And even short responses in voice attack start to stack up very quickly, just like the AI in the ship start to stack up, and you end up with it's telling you something that happened 5 minutes ago. Voice attack will do that even in short responses. You don't necessarily want these pre-recorded long responses to your commands. You don't want to say, shields up, for example, and Shatner's still telling you about what makes Crusader so pretty. Especially at Shatner's speed.
That is face rig he's using up there. It's a really good face rig setup he's got right now too. It's good. But yeah, I agree with you 100%, Eric, on the voice clips and stuff like that. I think the long-winded stuff, like we've even seen, like I'll have little short clips like on my attack profile for voice attack, like send it for a missile, and you'll just hear them like missile, and they'll cut themselves off because if you do the interrupt, that way it just gets the next one going. You got to be careful with that, though, because it'll interrupt your macros.
Well, and see, mine, because I use text-to-speak, mine talks over itself.
Yep.
So if I get multiple commands going at once, she'll say like 4 different things at once, and it's just this garbled mess of noise.
Yeah.
And it's annoying as hell. And like you said, if you don't tell it to automatically cut off the previous command, play back the previous command, what it'll do is it'll schedule those WAV files, those MP3 files in sequence. So it may have already launched the missile, but it doesn't tell you it launched the missile for another 30 seconds, and because it's running this constant commentary as you're trying to play the damn game.
Yeah. I will say, if you play Elite Dangerous, it has a lot more voice packs for Elite than it does for Star Citizen right now. I think there's only 3 for Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead,
I can speak to this a little bit. I've been using voice attack since I think 1.0.
Yeah.
So I've been using it for a while, and I just like you, Eric, I did my first profile on my own, just trying to figure out how the whole software works, and it's really easy to pick up on. But back at that stage, in its earlier stage, I guess, of development, it was pretty hard to actually build this stuff out myself. So I went into the forums and I started using Anna, the citizen-made one from Confused Monkey, and I've been using that for 2 point something, and he's on 5.55 right now. It's really nice, and it's actually taught me a lot on how to set the stuff up. Just looking at some of the ways that he's done it, and having to go in there and customize it to my settings and my name and so on and so forth. But on top of that, just before I kind of backed down from streaming at the end of the pregnancy here, I was starting to expand outside of Star Citizen and looking at other space sci-fi games. One of those was Elite Dangerous, and so I did pick up an HCS voice pack. It was Astra, and I really actually had a lot of fun using it. It's one of the ones that was built for Elite Dangerous, and there were times where, yes, it would talk over itself. Like it has the Galactopedia and it does Stephen Hawking quotes and things. But I found it interesting that there were times where if it was going through, say, a quote from the Galactopedia, that sound bite would still be playing, but it would kind of dull. And then louder over it would come in, say, the ship command prompt, and that would be going live. And it did a pretty good job of keeping up with Elite Dangerous, so I'm hoping that it does the same thing with Star Citizen. what I do really like about this is the fact that Cloud Imperium is working with HCS Voice Pack. Like it's Cloud Imperium certified, like stamped and approved. Yes, we approve of this. We're working with them. Whatever version of the game we have out is what they are working with. So we know that they're going to be on it. I'm looking forward to using it.
The one thing I will caution people on this, when you're dealing with other people making your voice packs and you don't know how to change things, as we know, with every freaking patch, CIG changes something that breaks at least one command in voice attack. At least one command, whether it be your missile launch command or your countermeasure command, they change something. 2.4, they have hinted that they are redoing massive amounts of commands. Now, I can't speak as to whether or not that's been done yet. I'm still using the same voice attack profile. That's all I'll say about what I'm doing in 2.4 in Evocati. But they did say that from 2.4 onward, they're going to have to change a lot of the keyboard layout because they're introducing all this new stuff into the game. And there is no way that these voice pack companies are going to be able to release on the same day that 2.4 releases or 2.5 releases. It just ain't going to happen. So you're going to have a couple days minimum where that voice attack is either going to be broken or you're going to have to learn how to fix it yourself.
Yeah.
But see, that's also a really nice
learn
thing.
It on your own. So please.
Absolutely. But that's also the really nice thing about HCS Voice Pack is that they're really good about doing regular updates on their profiles. Like they go through, they do their first recordings and they release the product, but they don't just release a product and that's the end of it. They're constantly reiterating and keeping it up to date. So you're guaranteed to get something eventually from the creator themselves.
Yeah, and that's HCS and the creator of Anna. What's his name again? Confused Monkey?
Confused Monkey. Yeah.
They both have basically pledged that they will continue to update as long as Star Citizen updates. And so far, Confused Monkey has been 100% on top of that. He is also oftentimes in PTUs, so he's like those of us that are also in PTUs, he gets a heads up on what needs to be changed and can get it changed so that when it goes live, he's ready to go. So, I don't know, as of right now, as far as I know, CIG is not working with HCS to give them access to PTUs, but some of their testers, their beta testers, do have access to PTUs. Yes. I know that. Like Board Gamer was one of their beta testers, I believe.
Yep.
WTF,
the Noobifier.
The Noobifier, WTF.
He's doing all their videos, Noobifiers,
yeah.
I think, for their demos.
Hopefully those guys will be able to keep HCS guys up to date so that as soon as possible they can change the commands and whatnot to reflect the newest updates. But it's still great for you to learn how to do that yourself.
Yeah. It's not hard to modify, like you said, Eric, too. Plus, even if you wanted those voices, you could pretty much pick it apart, go through and remap those commands to whatever you want to be commands, because a lot of people have specialty keys.
Right.
They want to remap their keyboards, their toggle sticks, and all that stuff. And you can do all that. You can choose on voice attack whether to interface directly with your keyboard, your game controller, both, whatever you want to do. The window you're currently on, your entire system, however you want to do it. I mean, shoot, at one point I had it starting Star Citizen and everything else. I could execute the file for Star Citizen and say, like, Anna, start Star Citizen, enter passcode. You could make it do everything.
So nice.
It could be the full, Skynet if you want it to be.
Yep.
If you want to go that deep into it. It'd take you a few weeks to get it programmed.
I will caution anybody on things like entering passwords, because it does do it in plain text. And should voice attack happen to tab to the wrong window, your password's going to be out there in plain text, especially if you happen to be a streamer. And so you could conceivably say, Anna, enter password, and it tabs over to the Space Bros
Twitch
chat here and types out Mitachi's password for Star Citizen.
That would never happen.
Yeah. Exactly. Just so
absolutely.
I would caution people against doing that.
Yep.
And of course, if you're going to ever share your profile with somebody, you want to make sure that stuff's pulled out of there before you share it. Things like that.
And be safe, and like me, keep your porn on another computer.
And keep your porn on
another. You don't want to bring that up through voice attack. It'd be really bad. All right, so what else we got, guys? Anybody has any questions or anything, just throw them in there. I was looking across the HCC we went over. What was the other thing? He did say you could do a triple profile, which I didn't know that. I didn't know you could run like 3 voices at once on voice attack. That was something I wasn't aware of.
Well, if they're using pre-recorded files, so they can do that easier.
Yeah.
You can actually do that with your text-to-speech too.
Yeah, I know you could manually do it. I didn't know that their profiles would just sync into it though and do that. So that was kind of interesting there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that triple pack is because I'm probably going to invest in that
Well, you
one.
just get the full Star Trek one, right? You get what, Nimoy and
Um,
Kirk, and then I wish they had.
that
They
one-
don't have Bones. I mean,
the
I know
triple
they
pack
got
is-
that. They got
There's a
Bones.
reason why they don't have Bones. He was dead before these games were even conceived.
Yeah,
That's
I
why.
know. Well, even the
But-
new Bones. Any
Yeah.
Bones emulation, I like Bones. He's like my guy.
They have.
You heard it here
3
first, folks. Mitachi likes Bones.
I do. Quote.
They have 3 different packs for Star Citizen right now. The first is Orion, which is voiced by William Shatner. The second is Vega, which is voiced by Brent Spiner, who plays Data in The Next Generation.
Right.
And then the third one is actually not a Trek
Right.
actor at all. The third one is
It's Tom
Midnight,
Baker.
played by Tom Baker. And
And
that
I might
one,
buy that one just to grab
that
those
one is-
audio files.
That's
It's
Doctor
awesome.
Who, though.
it's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doctor Who's amazing.
Well,
It's
and Tom
fantastic.
Baker is, he's my first doctor.
Yeah.
And they always say you never forget your first doctor, and that's
Yeah.
and he is. He's still the original Doctor Who to me because it was the first one I ever saw.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, just I would love to have just those audio files of him so I could play with them, incorporate them somehow in my stream and in my game. I probably wouldn't use the voice pack itself, but I would use the audio files in the voice pack.
Yeah. It's great. I definitely recommend checking out the Midnight demo video that Nubifier has thrown together for HCS voice packs because it's really impressive. I think it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, speaking more about voice attack, I noticed Kadixon here said there was a thread, or there is active threads.
Yeah,
about
it's still
people
going on right now.
talking about voice attack being a cheat in the game, because it's like you can move your shields
Sure.
around and stuff like that. Well, it's like macro keyboards, guys. I mean, if it's
Yep.
available and
Mm-hmm.
if the producer of the game condones it, you're kind of SOL on that. So
There was people back when Zealous got big. There was people back when Arena Commander first came out who were trying to get petitions signed on the forums to get CIG to ban the use of target software and other such
Yeah.
macro software that comes with your joysticks because
Remember
that's
that.
a cheat too. So yeah, there are people out there they just don't understand this is part of gaming and has been for decades now. They just because they never did that, they think that it's cheating
Or they
that
don't.
it's
They don't have it, so it's
Yeah.
cheating.
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Well, there was a guy who was legitimately trying to argue that makes the game pay to win right there. If a guy who buys a Warthog and it's target software can macro all these commands, he's therefore
Yeah.
paying to win. And he was serious. He wasn't doing that as a sarcastic argument. He was it's just like, okay, you are essentially correct. It's also pay to win if I buy a 980 and you only have a 770 because I'm going to have better frame rates. But that's the way this works. We're not playing consoles.
and you could stretch that argument if you got multiple crews of constellations. If I have one constellation versus constellation, is it a cheat because I have a guy operating shields and you don't? I mean, it's there's another body there. I mean, there's all these different aspects. You can only parameter cheats onto what's allowed via the EULA of a game. I mean, if they allow macros and they allow bots and they allow other things like that, you just have to deal with it.
And
That's
they'll
the way
never
it
be
is.
able to prevent it from happening. There's no cheat software out there that can prevent me from using my my Razer keyboard here has its own built-in
Yeah.
macro software. There's no cheat software out there that they can try to set it up so that it detects key press speed, I suppose.
I
But
guess.
I also type at 120 words per minute. Are they going to factor that into that software?
Yeah.
Because and a good Twitch gamer, somebody who plays Call of Duty professionally, for example, those guys mouse click at speeds that most of us can't even conceive of. Same with those StarCraft professional players. They measure their ability in clicks per minute.
Well, they train all day with that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's their job. I mean, that's the way you do it. If you're playing StarCraft over in the Eastern Hemisphere, there's guys that are making tens upon tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in tournaments doing that.
We're already cheating because we have Eric with Aurora.
There you go. There you go. But the whole fact of the matter is, what Star Citizen in my mind is going to boil down to is like just as in many games, it's going to be team play. Because no matter if you had the fastest person reacting, trying to multi-crew, whether he's using voice attack, macros, or whatever, and I have a separate person on a console managing this so I can focus 100% on my task of killing you. Maybe he's managing shields, or I'm piloting a ship, and I got guys trying to kill you with their guns over here, and this guy's managing shields and engineering. The better crew is the one that's going to win. No guy using voice attack. I mean, maybe a one seat fighter versus one seat fighter might be relevant in Arena Commander and other things, and it'll help you there. But a multi crew will always persevere in my mind over anything one
And
person trying to
ultimately,
multitask.
Voice attack is the slowest way to do just about any one of those commands. So let's be
Correct.
realistic. When I say shields forward, it first of all, it takes the time for me to say shields forward.
Yep.
Then it takes the time for voice attack to recognize and process that command. If it does it first time around,
If it does it,
that's,
yeah.
that's a second or so of time right there.
Uh-huh.
2 seconds after you count me saying it, and then it activates the command and does it.
Absolutely.
That's 3 seconds or so from start to finish before that command is fully executed. Whereas if I push and hold down the 8 key on my keypad, it's done right there.
Yep.
And
But
I
that
have
also
a
means I
Razer
have to move my
Naga,
hand over there.
and I don't even have to use my hand off
Exactly.
my mouse.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, voice attack and a lot of those macros are often the slowest way to do it. The reason they're done is because it just simplifies the task, not because it gives us an advantage.
Yep.
And for me, it's because I like the immersion of talking to my spaceship. It's something I've wanted to do ever since I first watched Star Trek when I was a wee little kid.
Yeah,
I wanted
and-
to talk to a spaceship.
And as we have more complex ships and larger vessels, it'll be neat to be able to do different systems like nav systems, radar, different things like that with voice attack, because it'll just promote the immersion. But again, the team play is going to be the best way to do everything, because
And you really have to stop and think about how much the usefulness of voice attack is going to change when you start thinking about shipboard responsibilities on, say, a Constellation versus a Karak versus an Endeavor versus a Bengal, when we, to this point, are so used to sitting down in our M50s and 300 series and Auroras and Freelancers, where it's basically one person can do everything. So voice attack is a great way to do it. But once all of these new piping systems come in, once the new mechanics start falling in, once the new items are in place, like, a lot of the stuff is going to change, and it's not really going to have that much of an impact. It's going to be on more of a personal level, how you immerse yourself with the game, how you interact with the game, and less on how easy it is for you to outperform the person on the other end.
yeah, that's a great point. Anarchus mentions there too. For people with disabilities and stuff, it allows them accessibility to not only play Star System, but a lot of games where they might have a disability or they have an injury that doesn't allow them to fully utilize all their digits and stuff, so they can do all sorts of things.
It does, doesn't it, Kate? He's got that voice. He starts talking, and it's like you want Mitachi to start playing some smooth jazz in the background. Nighthawk is going to seduce you with his love of Star Citizen.
There you go. There you go.
Fellow streamer Leet Feet. He would not be able to play Star Citizen without voice attack.
Yeah.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, Leet Feet was born without the use of his hands. He plays competitive gaming, first-person shooters, and now Star Citizen with his feet. And he can do basically WASD with one foot and control a mouse with the other, but he can't do all of the little commands at remotely the speed that anybody with hands can do. So he has voice attack to fill in that gap.
Yep.
He also paints and makes
Lee-
models with his feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leet Feet will probably kick most people's ass anyways.
he
too.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Because
good.
I've seen him.
He is
Oh, yeah,
good.
he's
You should
one of the
look
best
up.
pilots in the game. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. He is.
He's very good at what he does. Another interesting aspect I'd like to see as we roll out more features into Star Citizen to see what happens with voice attack will be NPC control. As we actually have NPC crew, how will that integrate? Is that because it all depends on the interface? Are we going to see whether we have a hotkey to select different crew? How do we interface with the NPCs? If you could utilize that, and I could command like a first officer if I'm flying solo on my ship to go back and repair the engine room or go check on this, if you could actually execute that through a macro and voice attack, that could be a huge advantage as well. So there's lots of different aspects that could help take over. We have to see as the game develops where it fits in even more. So that'll be pretty neat to see. Did you get it in there? Yeah, they were asking about. They want to see his name.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying
no,
to.
that.
Yeah, that's
It's
Leet.
because he
Leafy
spells
hasn't
it.
been streaming a whole lot lately.
That's because Star Citizen hasn't been streamable for him. He said, "I'm trying to copy his name properly so that I can get it right." Okay, it's one. Damn it. One EE7 F33T. One EE7 F33T. Yeah.
Yeah, Kija, I don't know that they'll integrate it as a full feature because I don't know. If I had developed voice attack, I wouldn't want them to take my baby and put it in Star Citizen because I'd have to sell it as a property to CIG. So I don't know if they'll integrate that fully in that method, or if they'll just always be like a add-on, so to speak. That's kind of up to the person who created it.
Yeah, they said initially they were looking into something like that, but I think they've decided to go ahead and let it be separate from the game.
It's been discussed several times in the past over the
They're
years,
thinking about it.
and I think most recently what they've landed into a comfortable zone with is the community loves voice attack.
Yeah.
So they're kind of at this stage in development, at least, thinking that they're just going to support voice attack and HCS voice packs and put something out that someone else can worry about developing. And they're in terms of in-game voice communications and that sort of thing, they might put something in where you have localized communication. Like if you're talking face to face, you might be able to, on an open microphone, say something to Eric McKetton, and Eric McKetton can say something back to you.
Right.
Or you can tap into your ship communications and, like a radio, communicate within the game. But beyond that point, in terms of voice commands, macros, that kind of deal, it's going to be left to third party.
Well, Kigo, in the future, we will be able to shut off the in-game computer's verbosity. That's something they've said from the start, that we will be able to control how much it says to us, if it says anything at all, etc. So that is,
In voice attack, you don't have to have a verbal response. If you learn, like Eric's saying, to set up yourself, it can introduce macros and have no audible system to do anything back. Most of us like it to either do that, or if you're a Star Trek fan like Nighthawk, you can have it just do the little
beeps,
the beeps and stuff, like the little computer, and then it'll just make noise. You can do all that.
Voice attack just responds with various beeps.
You can make it customized however you want. Yeah.
Or like Hydro Big Bang lights it with all the fighter shit and the fighter planes.
Right.
Sounds.
Yeah. He uses all the various beeps from
It could do fart noises if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever as creative as you want to get with it. It's whatever you want to do. So.
But yeah, I think it's good that they have. It looks like they've decided to let voice attack be voice attack, because here's the thing: Gary, who developed voice attack, he started out in 2009 making it as something because he wanted something like that for his games and couldn't find anything, and he had some programming experience, and he worked as a professional programmer, but he had a 9-to-5 job. Then and he worked on this pretty much in obscurity. A few people bought it. He charged $8 to test it, basically long. And a few people bought it. He just kept making it out of his home when he had the time. And then Arena Commander released. And Arena Commander released, and Elite Dangerous went into beta around the same time. And on the Elite side, somebody found it and put a video up on it. On Arena Commander side, I found it and put a video up of me using it. And it just exploded. And by the end of that summer, he had to quit his job to focus exclusively on developing voice attack. And at $8, I think it's $10 now, $10 a pop, he sold hundreds of thousands of copies of that. Yeah. And he's become, probably a millionaire. I don't know. I'm guessing.
I think I paid like $7.99 for it or something.
Yeah, it was $8 when I got it. Yeah.
But you get a free 21-day trial still on it. So, I mean, if it's something you guys want to check out and try, definitely go check it out. It's just voiceattack.com. And you get it for 21 days, and it lets you do like 20 commands. It gives you a good feel for what it is. If you do purchase it, you can open it up, and it's a lifetime license. I actually, when I built this newer machine in February, had no problem recovering the key code for it. Went to the site, did password recovery. They give you a key code, re-registered it, boom. You can move it to whatever machine you want. It's really open and nice. So,
Kigo, if you would play any games that have squad commands, you'll find voice attack is awesome for that. Like Mass Effect 3, for example. How you can tell your teammates to go over here or go there or follow me or whatever. Yeah. You can make voice attack commands. I mean, you may only make 4 for the entire game, but it's awesome to, you're playing some, Call of Duty style game. Or recently I replayed Medal of Honor Pacific Assault, and they have squad commands, and they're just 4 of them. It's, rally up or attack, fall back, etc. But I made those as voice attack commands. So as I'm running around and playing Pacific Assault, I'm saying rally on me or fall back or a charge, and the Marines are responding and doing what I say. It's really cool. So you'll find once you start using it that you use it for more than just Star Citizen.
Yeah. For $10 you can't go wrong.
Really,
it's cheap and it's useful.
And I really hope that they do decide to just let voice attack be their voice control system one way or another, because Gary has put a lot of time and effort into making this for us, and we have gotten it working, and it would really be just kind of a dick move to basically look at all of his work and see what works and what doesn't, and then integrate it into the game and
just
cut
do
him
your
out.
Yeah.
And it would just that's business, but it would be kind of a dick thing to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to happen for that reason, as well as because why put the extra development effort into it when somebody else is already doing it for you?
Yeah, especially when you have something that works, and it creates good competition because somebody else might come out with another IP that does something like voice attack, and then
there is
you do
a
that.
free program out there that's very similar to voice attack that a lot of people have said is just as good. I've never tried it. I don't remember what it's called, but if you go to like the voice attack subreddits and whatnot, people talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
and a lot of people can say that it is as good as voice attack, but it's 100% free and open source.
Well, I'd also say this standard of where the direction they've gone with voice attack and some of these other things is we get to the point, and we were talking about this the other night when I was playing EVE Online with some of the guys. EVE Online has an open API system where a lot of people create additional programs to help support the game in whatever method they want and all that. You're going to end up having the same type of thing here with CIG if they follow the same path. People will make fitting menu systems, out-of-game different services, all sorts of apps and all that stuff. And you're already starting to see it on the apps and news and notification front. But you're going to see that continue to expand once we actually have the game nearing launch time and they have all the actual dynamics of all the items listed and all that. Then you'll see more and more apps come out. And that's really exciting for me because individuals will develop apps way faster than a whole company will. They might be buggy, there might be this and that, but it creates a nice competition for the end user to be able to sit there and choose what they want to use. You know, in EVE, I used EVE Fitting Tool, or I'd use some of the different market menu things where you can compare pricing, and that's all player-generated stuff.
Right.
And it makes it really interesting and really nice. And I hope they stick with that whole metric. I know Chris has always said that he wanted to go open API. Of course, it's post-launch down the road, but going open API like that's going to be amazing for application development.
Well, and they are technically already open API. It's just that they don't put it out there. It's just
well,
that
and it
their
shifts.
website security is pretty.
Yeah. If they put it out there, it'd only create vulnerabilities and wouldn't be any benefit because we're in alpha and they change all the dynamics, everything. If they made a fitting tool today, next week it'd be entirely different. It wouldn't be accurate, so it wouldn't even matter. So
yeah, they're just starting to put data in the database, so there's not much there yet for an API to access.
They haven't had a standardization for themselves for the last 3 years, let alone for us.
Well, yeah. Well, we're just getting persistence now, right? So as we get persistence, you can't really track markets that don't exist. You can't track fittings or anything that shift all the time because they're not developed at that point. But once the game comes out, I hopefully they'll keep with that same metric, and we'll see these API and different applications come up. So you'll be able to fit up your ships and have a plan before you even get home to play the game, so you're ready to rock and roll. And that's amazing. So, what else we got?
Try to lean in and see if I can get hit by Zealous Tail. I think it cuts off.
He's whipping.
It's close.
You need a reaction right there when he goes off screen. Like, wow. So we'll just put a little tail on an oscillating fan, so every once in a while when it whips back and forth, it'll just be halfway in your frame. That'd be good. Mad Hatter Mike 42. Hello. So, again, guys, I think that's about all we had for this week. There wasn't a lot of other information. We're just kind of coasting to 2.4. Hopefully, we'll see something new next week on that.
I think they said in
What's up?
What's it called? The RTV that the Gemini will be hangar ready.
They said at a minimum it will be hangar ready for 2.4.
But they also played down how different it'll actually be. I mean, Disco even said he's like, it'll be a little different. It's not really,
Hopefully we'll have 2.4 on the PTU live server by next week. Next Friday would be nice.
I have a feeling that I was fully expecting it to be in PTU live by the end of this week. However, they apparently they still haven't got what they consider to be blockers out of the way. But I still think that we're fairly solid to have 2.4 live by the end of this month. I'm interested already, though. I've heard a tale that there is some big stuff planned for 2.5, and I'm hoping that those rumors are true.
Well,
I've heard the rumors from all angles, from QA guys, from
I've heard everything about 2.5 from we'll have Nix to we'll have the full shitting. We'll have the full.
Finally, procedural shitting is in game.
The toilets have purpose. Damn it! The toilets have purpose.
We're gonna get toilet paper.
Free the flow. No, we'll have the not only the ship fitting menus. You'll have bunker. I think they'll have Dumpers Depot out before 2.5 though, because they make it sound like they'll roll it out between 2.4 and 2.5.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got. If stores are working in 2.4, then Dumpers Depot is just a matter of integrating that into the store function. So it doesn't have to be its own big patch release.
The piping system would be cool in 2.5.
Well, Dumpers Depot, they were saying that you could buy stuff through the console, which is sounds kind of cool. You've got the console in there with prices on it, so I guess using that to buy items.
Yeah.
Have they changed the image of Dumpers Depot at all to the store thing, or is it the same? Because I mean, it looked really cool with the whole shelving system on it.
Dumpers Depot is still pretty much the same. There's a couple things have changed the site, but it's mostly the same it's been for months.
Yeah, but it'll be so cool to go to an interface and be able to like order your parts and then have them in inventory and do that sort of thing. That'd be really cool.
But honestly, the big thing, and God, I hope they can figure out how to fix this, is the desync. The desync, all this other stuff being added in is going to be squat if they can't fix that desync soon, because it is driving away people, and people being driven away means testers being driven away. The less people testing it, the longer it takes them to fix it.
It's going to be a constant thorn in the side, though, because, I mean, with them constantly trying to do minor optimizations, add item systems and all that stuff, I mean, the item system is going to be the biggest next hurdle with having the item system, persistence, markets, all this stuff, and then trying to bring the netcode up to standard where you don't have desync and you have good optimization for just to get it through. If they get over that hurdle, everything else will be downhill from there, because that's huge to change that much back-end stuff and then try to...
The desync is supposedly heavily based on the way it loads things into the game, and persistence supposedly should alleviate some of that load. The other thing that they've identified that's causing a lot of the server lag and desync is dead ships, and any type of dead ship, AI, player, whatever.
Because they persist, right?
Well, that's the thing, is if you notice the longer a server is running, the worse it gets. The frame rate drops, the server frame rate drops, and when the server frame rate drops, your frame rate drops. If you jump into a server and you're immediately getting 20 FPS, you can probably bet that instance has been running for several hours at least. And what they're finding is, for whatever reason, the server is maintaining data on ships that should no longer be there. And hopefully they're figuring out how to get rid of that. But yeah, every time you spawn a ship, that ship just doesn't necessarily go away, no matter what you do with it. You spawn another one, and we've seen that, where if you spawn a new ship and your old one isn't destroyed, it sits there and you got a little link to it. But yeah, apparently they're just kind of sitting there, even if we can't see them. These ships, these AI ships, all this stuff is sitting there after it's been killed and blown up and taking up resources, and it's slowly eating away at the server's processing power.
Absolutely.
And that's causing that low frame rates. And once the frame rates drop below a certain level, we start getting massive desync, they said. Once the server frame rates, not necessarily client frame rates.
Well, that goes back to how they're constantly transferring us all the data all the time, not just when it changes.
Yep.
So when they get that change implemented, then that's going to remove the extra 80-90% data that we don't need.
Yeah, Nolric says first procedural planet will launch during SitCon. He's calling it now. I was like,
way before then.
Yeah, way before then. Sean Tracy is so close on that. I am shocked they haven't shown just like some teaser screens on that. That's by now.
They haven't shown us anything more on it, because they're going to nail us hard with something that's going to blow our minds. That's why.
I think, if anything, Nolric, we're probably going to be closer to a point at CitizenCon where if anything, we might get the first opportunity to jump to a new system, because by CitizenCon we're supposed to have Nyx as a landing zone. We're supposed to have the Stanton system fully opened up to us. The game is going to be very different by the time we get there.
Here's the thing about that. I was thinking that too, that by the end of the year, jumping to a system, until it occurred to me that's a requirement for Squadron 42. Without going into too much detail, unfortunately, I know most of what's going to happen in Squadron 42 because I delved deeper in the leak than I should have, and spoiled it for myself. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. But I can assure you that being able to navigate jump holes is required for Squadron 42. And if that's the case, it needs to be tested and refined long before Squadron 42 releases, and they want Squadron 42 to release by the end of this year. So I think that we will be jumping to other systems much sooner than most people think.
October.
Yeah.
I think here's where we're at right developmentally. I think right now with the item port system and all this stuff, this is the blocker. If once the item port system and you get the first initial persistence on and all the economy and everything, they have so much stuff that's just waiting for that to get done that's almost completed. I think once they have that and they're happy with it, they're going to start dumping stuff. Then it's going to be dump more stuff on us, optimization. Dump more stuff on us, optimization. Because they have so much backstacked. I mean, so much stuff that, like, I know these guys know that they can't tell anybody about. And all this other stuff. It's just, there's a lot of stuff already. But it doesn't matter unless you have persistence, economy, all these other things. You can't run transport missions with no persistence because then the missions don't mean shit. You can't do it. There's so many other things that they have so many teams working on. We get through this hump. I think we're going to have a lot of flow through on a lot of different items that you guys are just going to be like, what the hell happened? You know, it's going to be really
they got
cool.
a lot of stuff just waiting for them to get money in and get the net code fixed, so they're not transferring so much data and getting the item 2.0 stuff in. So once they get all that stuff in, it's going to be
some of those
lots of
things.
stuff coming in.
Yeah, all the assets are done. I mean, outside of ships, the physical assets are done because they had to have them done for Squadron 42. I mean, it's so much stuff waiting for them to wrap up certain things on that. And then I predict Squadron 42 hard push is they want it out by SitCon. I won't even say end of the year. I think they're going to try to get it. I can't say they will, but I think by CitizenCon, they want to have Squadron 42 launched.
Interesting.
At the minimum, I would expect to see by around then some sort of demo of it.
At least
a playable demo that they can put out there for people to try out and whatnot. I would imagine.
I think they want it out, at least soft launch or something. They want it out, I would think, by CitizenCon. It might not come out to the year, but I think Chris is probably hammering on it, trying to get them to have like, okay, here's the release, or they'll have the major release launch date, and it'll be like 30 days after or something like that. But I really believe it'll happen.
You know what's funny? Every time we start talking about what they might have in the background, Stoutman has done at least one visit to the studios. I think he's done more than one.
I
And
think
under
they're 2 or
NDA.
3 now.
Yeah, and he's seen. I always imagine him like Rutger Hauer, Roy Batty in Blade Runner. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe, and all of these things are lost to time. Like
he gets. You also know when you're when you're talking about something he knows about because he gets a little gleam in his eye, and then he's just ready.
And then he looks away because he doesn't.
He looks away. He's like, I can't look directly at the camera. I have to say NDA. I can't say it. Don't make me. So, but guys, it's we've had a great show. I really appreciate everybody being here. For not a lot of information being released, I think we had a good conversation about everything from voice attack, developmentally where we are. Anarchist says, is there going to be a testing demo of Squadron 42? I don't think so.
I think they'll release like a mission, maybe not even an actual mission of Squadron 42, just a single player kind of mission thing for people to try out, kind of a try before you buy it.
I think we're going to get it like a combat mission, like take that Gladius off the deck of the Idris.
Right. Something akin to the tutorial, essentially, is what I think we'll see.
Yeah.
I think maybe you'll get the tutorial. I think I could see that, like the Squadron 42, whatever they give you a tutorial mission.
Camp or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. I could see that. But beyond that, no, I think it'll be SitCon. You'll see a full like demo mission, and they'll show like a bunch of cool stuff from the actual game, and then they'll say, and we weren't going to do it till the end of the year, but guys, like maybe not that day, but like next month on the 12th, we're going to be doing Squadron 42 release. They're going to have something like that. I guarantee it. That just sounds like something Chris Roberts.
If we don't get it, I think we're probably going to see like at least some Idris operations of some sort.
Yep.
I think we might see that even sooner.
Yeah.
Because they've already talked several times about the Idris in dev builds being operational to certain levels. So,
I think the Idris is being held back. I mean, just because of Squadron 42
system.
and item port system. I don't think even after that, I don't think they want to drop the Idris on us till after Squadron 42 is released. I really don't, because I think they want it to be a huge portion of that game where it's like, what? And you're walking through the whole thing. I mean, they've already shown more of it than I thought they would have.
I think they showed more of it than they wanted to as well, just by the way Chris talks about it.
Yeah,
like, you get the impression he didn't want to show as much as they did, but at the same time, they do want to show it because they want us to go, have that same response they had the first time they saw it. And it's like the procedural planet thing, same thing. They didn't want to show it at first because they were like, we don't know where this is going to go or what we're going to do with it.
I think Gamescom...
But then as they showed it to each other around the office, they basically all said, we've got to show these people this.
Yeah, and I think Gamescom last year was a huge portion for them because they had so much ready. I don't think they knew how we would react. And ever since we gave such a positive reaction to what they showed us last year, when we were at this bridge of like, what's going on, and they didn't want to show anything, and then when they showed it, it was so positive that it's been a driving factor for them to get these things out. And as soon as they feel comfortable and they can show it, they show it to us because they know we're going to support them. They know we're not like, oh, that looks like shit. I mean, everybody's just flabbergasted by the amount of tech and work that they're doing and stuff. It's really amazing things.
Yeah,
so.
And we could take a second and also remember last year during the dev track, there was a period of, what was it, almost a month and a half, 2 months, where it was really, really dry.
It was longer than that. It was 4 months.
4 months? Oh my god!
I know.
It was so dry. There was nothing going on, and viewer numbers dropped, streamer numbers dropped, a player count dropped.
And the only thing that hyped everybody up, if you remember, Nighthawk, was the leak. Remember, the leak was, that's why it didn't seem like 4 months to some of the streamers, because it was a long time, and then Disco, and we had a big leak, and that's what supplied us with info for a whole nother month and a half before we had something again.
Just remember how awful that was. The 4 months of, we had first 2.5 months, well, it was technically 3 months of Sledge Commander.
Oh my god.
2 more months of Tempest Commander.
Oh.
So for this total of 5 month stretch, we had one major update in that entire 5 month stretch. And all that major update did was nerf the sledges, and then people discovered that the Tempests were overpowered. So we had this long 5 month, basically from February until June of last year, where it was the same game. Any patches we had were minor bug fixes. They did not change anything, add anything really, and it was a horribly broken game. And like you talked about,
most fun I had watching streams ever was watching Eric try not to bust his keyboard in half, going, "Goddamn Sledge Commanders!" And then you'd ask Eric for advice in his chat channel, because I was just getting into playing more Arena Commander right then. He's like, "Well, apparently all you got to do is fit some sledges in your ship, and you can do whatever the fuck you want to." That was like, the advice was great. I was okay.
And then I launched the Sledgequisition, which was where I counted kills of anybody I killed making using sledges, just as a little tally on my screen, and people started watching that. The problem was I discovered the easiest way to fight back against sledges were these missiles that nobody were using, and these missiles were called Tempest 2s because they seemed almost impossible to dodge, and you could put 8 of them on a Gladius. So that's what I was doing. I was flying around with these Tempest 2s and slaughtering everybody with them.
I loved it when the Gladiator came out and just everybody flew Gladiators, these huge tanks, and just spam missiles all over the place.
And then, unfortunately, that showed everybody that there was an alternative to sledges when the sledges were fixed, and that was abuse the Tempests. So then we had Tempest Commander.
So it could be argued that Eric created the Tempest Commander.
Tempest Commander was crazy. It was horrible because
it was created by Eric McKetton, so it's all his fault. He proponented his own folly there.
It is my fault, but I'm also one of the people that showed everybody how to dodge Tempest. I learned it from Malogos and Creon. They demonstrated it on my stream. Oh, and what's his name? Herr Matthias. They all demonstrated on my stream how they could dodge those missiles, and then we refined it and we made actually a video teaching people how to do it, so they could dodge Tempest. So I did try to atone for my sins by bringing that upon people. But
it's also morphing into other animals before our eyes.
I didn't.
It's like now he's got a paw on your microphone. I don't know what's going on there. It's like crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Big dog too.
Yeah, it's Big Dog. He got big, got T-Rex size, and got right up on him. There we go. All right.
Why do you think you won't be able to use the Saber when 2.4 comes out, Kigo? I'm interested in what makes you think that.
Yeah, I am too. Share.
As far as I know, it's still going to be fully functional in Arena Commander. I don't think any major changes have been made to the Saber that we know of.
I don't think they have any plans to change Arena Commander in general either. So I mean, there's
Arena Commander is pretty much static for now.
yeah.
Oh, he's renting it.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's going to be a big deal to rent that stuff.
I don't think with the initial implementation of Alpha currency, they're going to remove rentals as being available in the PU yet. I don't think that's coming.
No, they're leaving that money in the Arena Commander area. So
Well, I thought that rented stuff was not going to be in the PU on the next patch.
Yeah,
I
they
doubt
said they
that-
weren't going to be doing ships. So.
I doubt that that's gonna. What I mean is, regardless, I don't think initially, eventually, yes, rentals will only be for inside the simulator, but I don't think we're going to see that change happen anytime soon, because we're talking about the debut of persistence and the currency. This is brand spanking new, and they're not going to debut that and then remove the other functionality that it's supposed to replace without extensive
they
testing.
wouldn't be able to test anything because
Yeah.
you wouldn't have the ships to
Yeah.
really flesh it out and test it. They
I
will
don't
remove
think
it.
we'll
I just
see-
don't think they'll do it initially.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Probably not until they're more comfortable with keeping their currency persistent throughout the alpha. Because right now,
Yeah.
we're probably looking at every time they patch, your alpha currency is going to reset.
Yeah.
Just because they're going to be customizing everything, and they're going to have to do it for balance purposes.
Absolutely. And
But
even
once
if they
get that
allowed
balanced
you,
out-
yeah, even if they allowed you to buy ships, you wouldn't be able to get enough money together before they reset it to buy a ship.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd be like,
That's the
Wouldn't
problem
be able
I'm
to do
having
anything.
with renting in 2.3 is
Yeah.
because Arena Commander is so unstable in 2.3. I haven't been able to get enough money together.
I have like 200K, and that's not from fighting Arena Commander. That's from passively generating it, just sitting there accumulating for it over there, and I have nothing to do with it right now. So
I burned through about 300K during 2.3 before I stopped playing it, just
Yeah.
from trying to maintain my rentals. Because prior to 2.3, I would average earn about 100,000 rec a week, guaranteed.
And
And
there-
now I'm lucky to earn 10,000.
yeah, they have mentioned a couple different showings too, and they're not sure about it. They're talking about several different models where they're going to just leave rec in that. They've also talked about the possibility, at least Sean Tracy did, about maybe trading out the rec for other stuff if they want to go that way with it.
Right.
Just because they have so many people that aren't playing Arena Commander, and they want those people in the PU as they roll out the new systems, just saying, hey, we'll just give you guys this much UEC for the rec you have, and just
but
calling it a wipe.
once we're paying for repairs and fuel and everything in the PU,
Yeah.
people are going to go to Arena Commander because there they can just destroy their ship and it spawns again immediately. You're going to have a big bump in Arena Commander playability because of that.
But then they're going to have to touch it to fix it. Because right now, it's like it crashes left and right now. And they said they're not going to touch it because they're working on their assets. So if you have a bunch of people trying to go back there to play it, and it's unplayable in certain
Well, it's
aspects.
just it's
no problem.
unplayable temporarily. I mean, it's not like
yeah.
it's going to be like
Yeah.
that for months.
Yeah.
I think what's making it unplayable is the same thing that's making the PU unstable, though. So I think if they fix it with the Persistent Universe, it's going to fix with Arena Commander too.
Yeah.
Because Arena Commander is one of those things where anybody who's played it regularly knows that if you have less than 8 players in a match, it's smooth. You're probably getting your maximum frame rate you normally get. You're not having too much desync, too much jitter, too much rubber banding. But the moment you hit that magic number of 8, it all goes to shit. And that's that server being overloaded with too much information going back and forth between you and the server. And it's crazy how it's like they flip a switch that says, all right, everything's going good for them for the last 10 minutes. Let's fuck it up now.
Yeah,
And we'll
absolutely.
add one more person.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I got one surprise I want to do right before we close down the show. I am going to, because everybody's here and we've had a good conversation, I'm going to do a quick keyword raffle for a $10 Star Citizen gift card for one of our lucky viewers out there. And you just have to be a follower of the channel and all that jazz, but we're going to do it. We'll put 2 minutes on the clock and we'll see who's going to get it. All you have to do is just be a follower and enter one ticket of 2.4, or not a ticket, I guess, keyword.
I'm
So
gonna pet the doggy.
go pet the doggy.
I don't think I can reach the doggy.
I can fix that for you. Watch. Here, you want him on that side? There you go.
I gotta wait until I can see him on the street.
Okay, just wait. There you
Pet the
go.
doggy. Come on, doggy, get over on the stream.
He'll get over there. He'll get over there.
Heads up!
Hop in. Make sure you're a follower, guys.
Heads up! Here's another
the doggy.
You got 3 minutes to enter. We'll give you 3 minutes here while Eric pets the dog.
Heads up!
Tickle the dog. Tickle the dog.
Heads up!
And now he's smiling. Okay, that is freaking creepy.
It's getting a little extra creepy over there, huh?
It's getting a little dirty in here.
Where are you tickling him now?
Yeah, I was like, all I saw his hand up here, and his hand goes off screen somehow. I don't know.
And suddenly Zella starts smiling.
I think it became a doctor exam all of a sudden
His
over there.
tongue's hanging out and everything, yeah.
Absolutely.
Heads up!
We're still talking Star Citizen Raiders 2.5, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember hearing someone saying something about 2.5. Everyone gets Snickers. All right, is that right?
That would be so sweet.
Heads up!
And then we were dubbing that Crash Citizen. Just gonna watch everybody give hugs.
There you go.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens when
Okay.
when all the Starfarers become flyable, because
Oh
same thing.
gosh.
It's going to
Yeah.
be a ram fest of giant ships traveling at like 100 meters per second, whatever their top speed is.
It's gonna be crazy.
Big ass
Especially once
ship.
they can carry fuel.
Oh yeah.
Crashing into Olisar is going to be nasty with them.
Well, as we get this on, guys, we're still talked about it. Nighthawk, you're invited too. We're talking about doing some of those tutorial days where we'll do that, and we'll get together and do multi-crew on some of these ships
Yeah.
and stuff. As we get more stuff, I'm really looking forward to doing that together and just testing different systems out. Where we'll get in a Starfarer together, and we'll each man a post, and we'll have multi-stream of all the angles and all that stuff, and we can all post it up. It'll be really nice.
Yeah,
So-
the concept we had, Nighthawk, actually was that, like, Stoutman, me, you, we could all be streaming our own streams, and then Mitt is streaming his stream, but with ours
Yep.
cut in as like a picture-in-picture, so you could have all five
yeah,
views
nice.
at once. Yeah,
Yep.
and then we're all talking on Skype or on Discord or whatever
Yep.
as we man
And
the
we'll
stations.
in Deepbot, I'll post up the multi-stream too, so people have the option of watching my stream where they can see the whole thing, or they can watch individuals and flip in between them, and they can do all that stuff. So
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Especially as more of these multi-crew positions come out, because we're
Yep.
going to have a lot of work for comm officers here in the near future with scanning and sensor
Absolutely.
systems coming online. And then you're going to have individual positions based on
Yep.
careers once cargo and mining come online. So things are going to start getting really interesting. And you're actually going to be able to start producing your own Trek or Galactica style show where it's almost episodic and you're just living out
Oh,
the
yeah.
life of the ship. So it's going to be
it'll be amazing.
fantastic.
And I think
Yeah.
we'll be able to approach it from two different aspects. We'll just go out as a crew, and we'll see the command workflow of like going down the thing. It's like, okay, we need shields moved to the right side and all this. It just playing it out and letting people see that and give them their own ideas on how to run it. All right, last 10 seconds to enter the raffle, guys. If you haven't entered yet, this is it. So
Do you guys remember the trailer for Space Engineers?
The trailer, no.
no,
Okay. Do you remember the red ship, the blue ship, and the yellow ship?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, the original trailer was all three of them colliding head on.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
there you go.
Okay. Can we do that with Idris's?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. I want to see that happen with Idris's and 890 jumps.
Yeah, buy me one. I'll do it with you, no problem.
Yeah,
I want to see.
I
Gamble
require a
create
purchase of
his-
2 ships
his
to do that.
Stack of constellations, only with Starfarers, and do the same thing.
Oh,
Stack as many Starfarers
full
as
of fuel. Oh, and what happens if you could before he rams
Ram
them
a
all?
retaliator through it.
Yeah.
What happens if you could release all the fuel tanks? Okay, captains, get ready. Release all the fuel tanks right then. So it's just all just boom, 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 boom.
I'll tell you exactly
That'd be
what
amazing.
It's abbreviated C, T, and D. That's what happens in that situation. I can guarantee it.
That'd be
Everybody just be
amazing.
staring at their desktop 10 seconds later, going,
That'd be
well, that was
amazing.
awesome.
No doubt. All right, guys, let's go ahead and draw this thing real quick. We're gonna draw it, and we'll let you guys get out of here. It's like now somebody needs to get the pussy off my screen. There's too much pussy right there in the middle of my
That
screen.
was one ugly cat.
Looks like that cat got scared to death. All right, guys, we're gonna draw.
Friggin'
3,
huge.
2, 1. Noel Rick's the winner. Congratulations, bro. There you go. All I need you to do is via Twitch message, please send me your handle and your RSI associated email, and I will get you the stuff sent over there via gift inside the RSI website. Awesome. Congrats. Everybody give some congrats to Ulrich there.
Congratulations, Melrick.
Yeah, it's definitely not rigged because he's not over here that much to rig it. Now, if you would have
This is
said
his first
Zealous
day
or
following, actually.
yeah, I think so. I think if Zealous would have won, you guys would have had a whole complaint there. So, but
It's true.
not only that, but the scary cat. The cat. It looks like somebody took a real cat and turned it into a fucking sock puppet. It's like that's what it looks like. Like it's a real taxidermy cat, and you tear his sock bucket because he's like so stiff with his legs. Like
You guys were asking where my hands were with the dog. You don't want to know what's going on.
there you
with
go.
that
You
cat.
just do like this. Look, here's my version of the cat, and he's like, it's spooky as shit. I don't know if I could do that. All right. Craziness, guys. All right, so who's streaming tonight? I know I'll probably be doing maybe a little bit of EVE Online tonight, a little bit later. Stout, are you doing some Star Citizen still?
I don't
Tonight?
know. Maybe.
Maybe?
Probably not.
Probably not tonight.
I will very likely be streaming some more Doom tonight.
Doom. Doom, if you guys haven't checked out Doom, I was kind of on the fence. I've watched Captain Richard tonight and some of the other guys, and Eric's going to be streaming it. If you want to see how not to do it, watch Captain Richard. God love him. He's a great streamer, and I really like watching his stuff. But he is the most non-Doom player I've ever seen. You don't choose scopes
No,
and
you,
stuff
you
in
didn't
Doom.
watch Gamble. You think Captain Richards not?
I don't know.
Oh
Was
my God.
yeah.
No, it's the
I
problem
just watched
is-
Gamble
is
for the
that-
dancing, to be honest. I mean, that's
Well,
you see him shake
here's,
that
here's
ass.
the thing with Doom is it's really built like the old shooters of the 90s. Extremely fast paced. You want to be constantly strafing and bouncing and bunny hopping and when you're moving, and that hasn't been a play style for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these they've gotten. I stopped playing first person shooters because I hated how homogenous they became.
Yep.
And these guys have been playing these first-person shooters, and their styles adapted. They haven't quite got back to. I watched Captain Richard doing cornering in
Doom. I was
crouching
like,
and going around the corner and aiming down his sight.
With the scope, I was like, what? I didn't even know they had scopes in like Doom. I was like, they have scopes now, apparently.
So yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yep.
But
All right.
I immediately, as soon as I started playing it, I started out with that same mindset that they had.
Yeah.
Playing it like any other shooter, that you take cover, things like that. And I realized that no, this is built like Doom was originally built.
Absolutely.
And I went and I immediately relearned. It was amazing how quickly it came back to me, to bunny hop and circle strafe bunny hop around the enemies, constantly popping shots in them. I immediately cranked up my mouse sensitivity to levels I haven't run with since I was half my age, and relearned how to play with mouse sensitivity that high so that I could literally do real 360 no scope kind of stuff because that's required.
Yep.
But yeah,
You gotta dance, man. If you don't dance, then you're dead in Doom.
and even when you do dance, you're dead. And I'm watching DJ Knight play it right now, and he's doing very similar. It's very slow, pacing himself out, paying attention to his surroundings, all that stuff, which is great for any other game, but it doesn't work for Doom.
No.
It really doesn't.
Well, you also have to realize, Eric, some of these guys weren't even alive. I mean, Captain Richard, yes, but some of these younger guys I'm watching play it. If you just go to the Doom channel, they weren't even alive for the original Doom.
Yeah.
So
But see, that's the thing is Gamble and Richard and DJ, they don't have any excuse other than they forgot how to do it because they played these games. We've all had these conversations.
Yeah.
We played these games to death when we were kids. So it's more about they forgot how to do it and they're trying to relearn.
Yeah.
But it is funny to watch them stream it because they're having issues and it's quite hilarious.
Absolutely. All right, well, we got to get out of here, guys. I'm going to take a brief break, and then I'll be back on with some EVE Online, but we still discuss Star Citizen all night long. That's what we do comparisons and all that stuff. I got to get out of here before the kitty starts to make a real bad hate speech or something, because now he's got he's got the pointy Kaiser helmet on. I'm like, it's going to get bad, man. It's going to get real bad in here all of a sudden. I'm going to get banned for Kaiser Kitty. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Here we go. So you guys have a great night. Again, thanks, Eric. Thanks, Nighthawk, Stout, Zealous, all you guys for hanging out with us tonight. I really appreciate you each and every week being here. Be sure to check out the Space Bro Show. We'll be pushing it out to YouTube a little bit later tonight, and we'll be back next week again with more Space Bros and Star Citizen information, hopefully 2.4. So we'll see what happens then. So good night, guys.
Have a good
See
night.
ya.
May all your foreheads grow like the mighty oak.
Absolutely. What's up with the cat? It's like it starts some weird revolution going on there. It's like crazy ass cats.